Alright, let's get into my bike. Grab yourself a beverage, chill out. This is going to be a detailed video of this e-bike. Just want to say that I have over 8,000 miles on this bike now. Asterisk. And I've been on the road. I'm actually doing an e-bike tour right now. I've been on the road for over a month. So this is a tried and true e-bike. Built it myself. So let's get into it. I think first I'm going to cover the electrics, which is on this side of the bike. Normally when you do a bike check, you would see the drive side, but we're going to start with electronics and then we'll move over to the bike stuff. It's a 2014 Surly Ogre. I bought this the day after my other bike got stolen, and I've been building it up for the last 5 years, and I consider it basically perfect. So first, let's talk about the motor. Originally, I had put a fast winding GMAC, which is called the 8-turn, and I swapped to a 10-turn, which is the standard winding. Has a little more torque, a little less top speed. It'll still do 32 to 34 miles per hour. And there's a setting in the controller, what's called field weakening. So I can even extend that upwards if I want to. But I find myself not really going above 30 miles an hour these days. And I have more climbing torque. So that's what I'm using now. So I have it covered, but you can see the torque arm. So the axles are round, and all of the torque is applied via this torque arm to the frame. And that's how I'm getting the power to it. I have horizontal dropouts, so I have the cable exit out the back. Ran up here, and it's connected to my controller that way. I'm using the Sunringle MTX 33 millimeter rims, and the spokes are Sapim, and it was laced in Portland, Oregon by Brian at Stoke Wheels. Go-to wheel guy. This is a geared hub motor, so there's planetary gears inside that rotate around a large gear that goes around the outer casing, and there's a stator in the middle. That makes it a very light motor and also very torquey. But unlike a direct drive motor, it does have a lifespan because the nylon gears can wear out over time. But I chose this motor mainly because I have horizontal dropouts, so it's a little tricky finding a motor that'll work in those. So I've been using this system for the last 8,000 miles, and I really like it. This motor in particular is identical to my old motor, and I even used the same rim and spokes. But it's a great motor. It's very quiet. I like the sound. Makes a tiny little buzz, but you can't really hear it. And yeah, it's doing me very, very well. So this is a Phase Runner motor controller. That's where that motor cable comes up, and I just have it looping around and going in. It's made by Grin Technologies. You can do up to 50 amps, but I have it set to 34 amps because that's what my battery's like. This is a new V6 Phase Runner. I did have an earlier version, but I'll explain the reason for the upgrade here in a minute. All the connections are waterproof. It's a lifetime controller. There's no reason why this should fail, basically, the way I'm using it. So I have a dual battery setup. Both are identical. They're 17 amp hour energy battery packs. I've mounted them here and here, and I use a strap just to kind of take up the tension. These batteries are made by EM3 EV, my battery company of choice. The mounting system is much more robust, and I feel a lot better about having my battery upside down. You'll see a lot of times they'll say to not mount a battery upside down, but that's because they're most likely Hylong style, and their mounting system isn't nearly as robust as this one is. Very, very excellent batteries. The cells are Samsung 35E cells, energy cells. All right, this is my cockpit. This is a Cycle Analyst V3 computer. And I have a little button module down here for power and bringing my PAS up or down. And I can hit the menu button as well, or just use these two buttons. This allows you to dig in fairly extensively to your system and make changes as you want, but it also supplies you with all the information you need. So this is the main screen, so we have battery level. This would be throttle level / it also shows if I engage the brakes, you can see it turns into a brake lever. It'll also show me my human power as I'm pedaling, just like a little meter. This is how many watts that I'm using right now, which is 5, because I have my tail light, my integrated tail light on, so it's 5 watts. This is my motor temperature and my miles per hour. More info. I use this screen a lot. Battery voltage, amps I'm pulling, my human watts, which is important, my miles per hour, and then my pedal cadence, RPM. This screen tells me my average watt hours per mile. That's kind of your only number that really matters when you're trying to figure out your range, is looking at this number. This is your gas mileage, more or less. The lower number, the better. This is how many watt hours I've used on this trip today, this morning. It's going up because I'm using my taillight. This tells you my human watt hours, my average human watts, my average RPM. This is my regen percentage and how many amp hours of regen I get back. But again, just keep in mind, regen has really nothing to do with getting power back. It has to do with being able to brake really easily. These are amps and volts. My average speed today was 13.9 miles per hour. This number is always wrong. Did not go 109 miles an hour today. And then I rode for 2 hours and 8 minutes. This is my temperature averages. And I did about 30 miles today. And you can see I have 8,259 miles on this bike. Another thing I have on my bike is inside this little bag here, I've got step-down controllers. So from my Cycle Analyst computer, I run into a battery voltage to 12 volt step-down converter, and then from that to a 5 volt step-down converter, and then it's dual USB, so I run my lightning cable from my phone as well as a USB-C cable, and that way I can charge my battery bank, which is what I normally do. I just plug in my battery bank, toss it in there, and then I plug in my phone, and I just charge my phone while I'm riding, so that when I get to camp, everything is charged up. I've got a throttle, e-brake levers, and that, my friends, is an e-bike. It's not more complicated than that. So with the batteries, you can run them parallel as long as they're the same voltage, but I find it more convenient to use one battery at a time. So I have these Anderson connectors here, and I just swap to whatever battery I want to be able to use, and that's been really great. Another thing in this area is going to be behind here. You can see a wire that's coming up to my controller, and what that is a ground to the frame. It eliminates some electrical noise. So this is a torque sensing bottom bracket made by E-Rider. This is my PAS sensor, so it measures human torque, and then it's a multiplier of human torque. It's really excellent. It's a very natural way to ride your bike. Instead of just measuring pedal RPM, which is what a cadence sensor does, my torque sensing bottom bracket just takes my human input and it multiplies it. And I can do that up to 8 times. So I can have 8 plus me pedaling this bike. I also have an integrated headlight and an integrated tail light, both made by Roxime. This is the cycle satiator charger. This is the charger that I've used for a decade, basically. It's waterproof, it's silent, and you can charge any type of e-bike battery. You can just adapt the ends. But it's an excellent charger, and I highly recommend spending a little bit extra money and getting this. In this bag as well, I have my MPPT controller, which is how I can solar charge my batteries as well, but I'll get into that. All right, relentless weed whacking and leaf blowing asshat has finally stopped. The devil's music, as I call it. Let's look at the bike. So this is a 2014 Surly Ogre. I bought it as a regular bike. In its previous life, it was a mid-drive. I spoke to the person that sold it to me not long ago, and I guess I had a Bosch mid-drive on it before. Didn't actually know they made them without being integrated into the frame. This did have a suspension fork. I had a RockShox Judy TK Silver on there, which is both spring and air, but I decided to go back to rigid forks. I just like them better, and instead I went with Connect seat post and stem, which are both suspended, so I'm fully suspended. Both wheels were built by Brian at Stoic Wheels. I just went with my Sunringle MTX 33 that I always go with on the back, and I think it has a WTB in the front. It's 32 spoke in the front and 36 in the back, all Supreme spokes, and all silver, just because there's a few silver accents on my bike and I just wanted to compliment them. I'm using Continental E Rubin tires. They're 2.1 inch. I find them to be really great. I did swap my front to my back, so my back is fairly fresh. My front still has plenty of tread on it. The reason why I like these is because they have a thicker sidewall. They're kind of meant for e-bikes and a little higher top speed, so they don't get warm as fast, but they are sort of a pain to get on and off. So the rear part of the drivetrain is now a microshift Advent 9-speed. It's an 11/13 38 in the back. And I had an Acera, which was an 8-speed, and I probably should have kept it, but I went with Advent because that's what I had available. Unfortunately, because of the way the cable comes out, this is kind of meant for like in-frame cables, so I have to take the derailleur off to take my rear wheel off, which is annoying. For the front, I've got Shimano Altus, and this is a 3x Altus 48, 38, 28, but to fit my bottom battery, I had to remove the 28 tooth on the bottom. So in the long run, I will swap the middle chain, which is now my bottom chain ring, to a 32, but right now it's a 38. So I have a 1-to-1, 38-38 is my climbing gear, that's my granny gear. I haven't run out of gear yet, but I think in the long run I'll swap to a 32. For brakes, we're just using the Avid BB7s with a 160 mil rotor on both front and back, cable actuated, single piston. Because of the fact that I have regenerative braking, I don't find myself in need of any stronger brakes whatsoever. And they've been great so far. My front hub is a Surly, it's kind of old school. It uses cup style bearings. It's harder to find, but that's what I have. And I just had the bearings replaced, so this is a fresh hub, and it's a quick release. For racks, I had Salsa front racks on here, and I've used lowriders in the past, Axiom lowriders, but I found that because of the fact that my steerer tube is very upright, having the weight in front was making it very waggly feeling. So I just used the existing mounts, and I put a dry bag, so it's behind the fork, closer to the steerer tube in the center, and that's where I have my front weight, and it's working out really well. I'm really happy that I made that change last minute. And then for the back, I have a tubus back rack. And I normally have my 2 Ortlieb panniers on both sides. And then I have my chair, and then ground sheet and flip-flops. That's the only thing I have on the racks. This is my Connect suspension seat post. It moves straight up and down, so your body position doesn't change. Whereas like a Thud Buster, it does move the seat back and down, so it does change your riding position, whereas this does not. This is my suspension stem, also made by Connect. It also travels straight up and down, and that just takes a little bit of road vibration off. I really like it. Ergon GP1. This is a Surly Moloko handlebars. I did go with Jones handlebars for a little bit with 2.5-inch rise, but I found that I like this position better. And when I'm riding, when I'm just kind of cruising down the highway, I really like to be in the bulls. So that's kind of my hand position. These are just standard e-bike, eBay brake levers that I wired in. I just like them. My seat is a very simple, just a Bontrager Sport. Nothing special, just what I've always used, and it's comfy and I like it. Can't forget the Miracle Mirror. Pro tip, mount it so it goes under this and you'll never break it. This has been the same mirror I've had for 8,000 miles. An accessory I bought is this Rock Geist. It's able to, it kind of allows you to hang off bags and things like this, because my stem is kind of a machine, it just makes it easier to mount things using this. Made by Rockgeist. Of course, I have the quad lock, as always. And this is my Surly Ogre bag with all my charging stuff in there. And I put my tripod that I'm using, I just kind of set it there in case I need it. Still using the Olivio 3-speed shifter, even though I'm only have 2 gears. So one is gone. And I just set my limit screws so that I can't drop down into it accidentally. And then I have the micro shift thumb shifter for my back end. I like both of them, they're excellent. I also have the half frame bag by Outer Shell, and that is just because I need to be able to mount my batteries below it. And I just picked it because of form factor, more or less. There's lots of half frame bags out there on the market. This one just happened to fit with enough space for my batteries. I always rock the KMC chain. It's a 9-speed. You can see that there is very little room between the bottom, the middle cog, and the battery. I don't even know if an 8-speed chain would fit there, but a 9-speed chain does. And then last but not least, I've got a timber bell. This is a trail bell, so when you flip it down, it activates the bell. When you flip it up, it turns the bell off. And I believe that covers all of my bike. People always ask me how I charge my bike. And tonight, I'm a fancy boy. I have power at my campsite. I forgot to mention, I'm using Miranda cranks, which come with the torque sensing bottom bracket, and 1-up comp pedals. These are the composite, not the fancy aluminum ones. They're great.